you would like to have. How comfortable is it going to be? What kind of retirement is it going to be? How much are you going to be saving towards your investments as you get along the year? All those are some of the questions that this session today should be able to help us to reflect on. So I would like to stop sharing my screen and welcome a few individuals that would like to share what are some of your experiences versus your goals that you've had over the last 6 months that you would then want to act upon in the next 6 months. I would like a few people to share their experiences before I call Coach Samuel Ivanda to come and share with us some of the tips and ask us a little bit of more questions that will be help us to plan ahead as we move into the next 6 months. Any individuals that would like to share some of their experiences and how they are moving versus their personal finance goals up to this point of the year? Yes, Olga, please have the platform.
Thank you very much, Darius. It's very unfortunate that I didn't attend the session at the beginning of the year. I'm very happy for you guys to have this initiative. That so many of us don't know so much about personal finances, but I see it's really a good thing. At work, when I interact with most of my colleagues, I'm surprised most of them don't know about personal. Very good of you guys to at least come up with such kind of initiatives to at least help some of the people who don't know about this. As for me, I have a goal to achieve by October. That is something I'd set in January. And I hope you guys are listening. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Olga.
We can hear you, Olga.
I have a goal that set up in January. And she has started on somehow well, but along the way, I'm slacking. And when I see to look back, the reason why I was having those slacks, somehow concluded that could be because of the high prices in general high cost of the standard of living apparently. And I don't know, maybe you people could help and give me some of the tips I can achieve this goal, because I'm seeing by October, it may not be where I plan to be. And since you people have brought this discussion, I could as well learn from some other people how I can go about some of these challenges I'm having apparently that is making me not reach my goal that I'd set. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Olga, for sharing that you had a goal.
Thank you.
That you had a goal, but you realize that you're lagging behind a bit. It's very good that you open up and that you're willing to be helped. That is always fantastic. That is a step acknowledging that you're not making progress and therefore may need to look back and reflect on what is stopping you, so that you can get a little bit better. I'm sure during when Coach Samuel is speaking, you'll be able to highlight some tips that you can take forward to reflect on your goals. I would like to welcome other individuals. I would like to welcome other individuals who are willing to share about what the experiences are. What goals did you have at the start of the year? How are you faring? Do you think you're going to achieve? Do you think you need to do anything differently? I would like to hear from you. What is your experience like? What are the lessons that you're learning along the way? All right, thank you. We have Timothy. Timothy in the chat room says he personally had a goal of saving 500,000 shillings per month, but unfortunately he finds himself breaking that goal and spending a little bit of it. What can he do? So that is Timothy. He had his goal and he's having a little bit of challenges working towards achieving that goal, and he needs some help. So I think in part of Coach Samuel's session, he will be addressing some of the things that Timothy would do, but would also like to welcome ideas from the rest of the people who are on the platform. What are some of your experiences? What can you do better? Mercy Wabuli says he needs help with debt management. Thank you, Mercy, for sharing. Thank you, those that have been able to share. Charles says it's not easy to remain consistent. How do you do it? And then Ahimbisibwe Brenda says one lesson she has learned is that it's not easy to save. I find I'm reading verbatim. I find myself spending more than necessary. What's that list? Sorry. Brenda says, one lesson I've learned is that it's not easy to save. I find myself spending more than necessary. What's that less than tempting saving mode that has enabled you to achieve your financial goals? So if you have some experiences that you'd like to share, we welcome you to share. Joseph says, I need some help on fund management. Thank you, Joseph. I see more people seem to be saying that they're a bit struggling and they need some bit of help. I would like to know if there is anyone who has been thriving with their goals to date, so that they can share with us some tips before I call in Coach Samuel Ivanda to take us through the next session. Yes, Olga, I can see your hand up. Please take the floor again, and then after that, I'll call in Coach Samuel Ivanda.
Okay, thank you once again, Darius. And give my fellow friends here is once you've made a mind to save, what you should do is to save, and once you're saving like part of your salaries, you shouldn't start thinking of saving after spending the money. Where the moment you receive your set a goal to save like 20% of your salaries, what you do the moment you receive your salaries, the only thing, the 20% in account, which you cannot easily access it. If possible, you can open a separate account you have, you can open a different account. Probably you could not even get a ATM and then save that money there. So that is difficult for you to access it. Anytime you're in a fix and you feel like money, it is difficult for you. You find other alternatives to sort out yourself rather than encroaching on that money. That is all I have, Darius.
All right, thank you, Olga. I have someone named as taking Okamon 18. That is Jamila. You have your hand up. Please take the floor.
Hi, everyone. I think from my side, what I'd like to share is, first of all, you have to have a reason why you're saving. And then that means at the start of the year, you need to know exactly what is it that I want to achieve. What is that tangible thing that I want to achieve this year? Now you write it down. It looks like it's your vision for the year. You write it down what you want to do within that year. If you want to buy land, if you probably need to renovate your house, if you probably need to do a course or something. So for anything that you want to do, first write it down. Now, then you know how much do you need if you're going to do it. So when you get to know that, even if you have an estimate, a rough estimate of what you want, of how much you want, then that will drive you into saving and knowing that out of this much that I earn, if I remove this percentage and I keep it, then this is what I am going to spend for all this. Because you can say, I'll be saving 10% every month so that this remaining money takes care of all these other things that I need to do this month. So like, for example, like now, maybe after 3 months, you may not need to wait for 6 months, but at least after 3 months, you need to do an evaluation. Go back to where you wrote the things that you wrote and ask yourself, how much have I achieved? Because for everything that you achieve, you have to tick off and say, okay, this one, I'm at this level. This one, I haven't touched it. What has stopped me from doing it? What is it that I need to do? So it's like you're doing a self-evaluation, but you're the same person that is pushing yourself to make sure that whatever you plan to achieve, you achieve it, because no one is going to push you. So the point is, if you don't have it written down, then you will not do it. And you will not evaluate yourself, because there is nothing, you can't keep it in your head. So for me, that is what has worked for me for all the things that I've wanted to achieve. So I think sometime last week, that's when I sat and I asked myself, what is it that I have achieved to date? We are going into the next half of the year. What is it that I have achieved? So I ticked off some of the things. And now I am drafting a new plan for whatever it is that I didn't achieve. I'm asking myself, why? I am not blaming anyone, but the question is me, because everything begins with me. Why haven't I done it? What has stopped me? What is it that I am doing wrong? So I do a self-evaluation and then I draft a new plan. So right now I am looking at my plan for the next 6 months and the things that I want to achieve, I have written them down. So I'm asking myself, what is it that I need to do to make sure that I achieve these things? Who is going to help me? Who do I need in my circle? So when I look around in my circle, I'm like, who is going to help me achieve these things? So first of all, it has to be personal initiative for you to push yourself to make sure that you really want something so bad. So you have to go for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamila, for those insights. Indeed, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing with us some tips of how we could go on reviewing our goals and then asking ourselves what we can do better. So Dave says, I had the goal of saving 100K per month, but in the first month, I couldn't manage until I used an auto save from my account, and I'm now getting used. Thank you, Dave, for sharing that using an auto save has helped you to get better to on your saving journey. And then Ibrahim says, it's better to start small and grow big. If you think of starting a business, Thank you. Yes, that's Ibrahim asking us to start small and then grow big along the journey. And then Innocent says, I had a goal of putting more effort on my small consultancy firm, alongside my daily office job, but failed and think it's because of time management. How can I be helped? Thank you, Innocent. Those are some of the questions that are going to be answered in Coach Samuel's session. And then Albert Rachmari, an active member of the Personal Finance Mastery community, says, here are some of the tips that he gives you. He opened an account in names of his children and puts a condition not to withdraw without their authorization. Then he buys in bulk and saves a lot when buying from specific shops, not every shop. With this strategy, he bought a plot of land at 7 million together with his children for the last 6 months. In the next 6 months, his children will start paying themselves school fees. That's fantastic. Thank you, Albert, for sharing. Afua is saying, if it's hard, put a standing order on the savings account and please don't get an ATM on that account. Thank you, Afua Namkasa, for sharing. Also an active member of the Personal Finance Mastery community. So thank you, members, for sharing. Please continue sharing your experiences and some of your insights into the chat room. Or if you would like to share, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll be able to pick it up. Joel says, good evening, I'm glad to be here. I had the goal of investing and increasing savings. As per now, I managed to start some investment now about 4 months. The saving is at times challenging, but I joined a compulsory savings deducted from my salary and also a cash round. Some of the tips of how Joel has been able to manage. And then Ahimbisiwe Brenda is asking, isn't it so costly for a standing order? I've realized that some standing orders are actually not expensive, especially if it is between the same bank. For example, if you're doing a standing order between 2 DFCU bank accounts, I know that it is free. You're not going to be charged for that. So you could also consider some of those options, and then it is going to help you. And then Charles says, I have a standing order on my salary account to an account we have an investment club. We then use these investment funds to fund our family invest. Thank you. Sandra says, I save in a unit trust, and by the time I withdraw what I needed the money for, I'll read that again. I save in a unit trust. By the time I withdraw, what I needed the money for will have been taken care of. That is fantastic. Thank you, Sandra, for sharing. So allow me to give the platform to Coach Samuel Ibanda, who will be picking up some of these questions and insights that you've been putting in the chat room. And then we'll come back later to discuss a little bit more. Over to you, Coach Samuel.
All right. Thank you so much, Darius, and thank you so much to everyone who has joined in this session. And again, thanks to everyone who is participating, including those that have been able to speak and those that are using the chat box to be able to share how their journey has been. It's been a year. We just 6 months along the journey, and all we can say is that a lot has happened and a lot is still happening. So I want to just share my screen so that we can just have a simple conversation about this. I know that some of you have just joined in. So if you've just joined in, we are trying to look at basically media review and reflection. We are 6 months along the journey, and we're asking ourselves, how far have we moved along our financial goals? what exactly is stopping us from getting to where we want to be? What are some of our wins? What are some of our lows? And what exactly can we exactly do to really make it by the end of this year, 2022? Now, I want to acknowledge, just like many other people have shared in the chat box, I want to acknowledge that currently everyone is facing an increase in terms of their cost of living, because the prices are going high every day. Fuel is high, food prices have been high in the last couple of months, and many things are really happening. But the question should be, is this something that should stop us from going a longer journey when it comes to our personal finances, or it is something that we can work within? Why? Because we don't know when this will actually come to an end. I think we have gone through a couple of days, especially from the start of this decade, from when 2020 came through. We had 2021 come through. We saw 2022 start, and we thought this would all be our year of catching up. And here we are into such circumstances. So why the review is very important is because if we don't do anything right now, it's much likely that we'll end this year without nothing much to really be proud about. And that's why we start this conversation right now, to see how can we evaluate our past journey. Now, as we can see that despite many people having challenges along this journey, we are seeing that some people have had wins. I like the fact that one person has shared that they've been able to open up different accounts for their children. They've been able to acquire land. And we are seeing people who have been able to commit to their saving goals, even amidst the rising prices. Now, to you who is struggling on whatever aspect you're struggling on, yours is to come back and try to reflect and say, if others have been able to make it, then what is really stopping me from actually moving? You know, sometimes when we see prices going up, there's this kind of mindset that just draws us off our goals. Even if you had planned to say, I'm going to save 500,000, when you see that things are not going on well, you find that even 200,000 becomes a challenge. Yet if you just adjusted maybe on your goal and say, since things are not going on well, let me now stick to a much less amount, but at least have something along the journey. If it was 500, can I bring it down to 300? Can I maybe make it 400? Whatever it is, based on your scenarios, then you can be able to see what exactly to do. Now, one of the things that I also see when it comes to the sharings that have been shared by different people here, I think we are more speaking about the aspects of saving. And I just want to start a conversation with us today, that we know that prices have gone high. And the person who is feeling the pinch most is the person whose income has remained the same. Now, most of us who are on this call, we are employed, and that one has no doubt in it. We are employed, and most of our income is the salary that comes in. So if this is the salary that is coming in, and this salary is not changing, what does this do to our financial goals? We find ourselves struggling, and we shall continue to struggle on our financial goals because things continue to get worse and worse every day. Our conversation should also now look into aspects of how can we increase our income? And I like the fact that one participant has been able to bring in the idea of they had a plan of starting up their consultancy firm, but they have been challenged when it comes to aspects of time. Now, you who is listening in, part of your financial goals should include an aspect of generating an income. What exactly are you going to do to make sure that your income grows as well? Now, your salary might have a cap on it that may not be able to grow because your company is also struggling with its costs, and it's highly unlikely that they will actually be paying a salary increment. So what is it that you actually exactly doing? And that is when we want to reflect. So we want to reflect on the side of expenditure, on the side of saving, on the side of investment, but also on the side of generating an income. So as I go through this session, I want you to just reflect, because we're going to have an interactive session just in a few minutes to come. Just try to get down, and if, like I liked somebody who said, if you can actually write down some of these things, it's very important. Just reflect about your incomes versus your expenditures. What exactly has changed along the journey? Okay, that's very important. And whenever you're making your personal finance reflections, remember you had your finance goals of where you want to actually be. Now, this is a point in time where you say, as end of 30th June 2022, where am I now when it comes to my goals? What exactly is not working? What is exactly working well? What is yet to work well? And what am I going to basically do differently? And at the end of the day, you also have the perspective of how you want this year to end, because that fed into your financial goals for this year. Maybe you had planned to finish your house, you had planned to go back to school, you had planned to set up an education kind of fund for children, you had planned to leave renting and, let's say, maybe go to your house or buy a house, whatever you have planned. Or even when it came to, let's say, maybe you plan to create some investments along the journey, as well as even your saving culture, you wanted to, say, improve it. So what exactly is happening right now? It's very good to sit down and reflect and see how you can strategize on where you actually want to be, and understanding what you actually need to actually get there. So all of us, I know we have financial goals. Some of you have written them down. Some of you have them in their mind, because everyone who is in search of the money knows exactly what they want to use the money for. So a time like this is to ask yourself, do the goals you set in January still matter to you now? And that happens because situation has changed, and there could be also something that has changed in your life. Now, I just want to use this picture, and I believe you can see something on the screen. So despite how everything has gone economy-wise, we have seen a lot of changes in people's lives. Some people have gotten jobs, some people have gotten new children in their family, some people have gotten married, some people have started up investments like maybe construction projects, people have started up new businesses, people have bought land, people have graduated from school, people have started up different projects that are bringing in income to them. Now, once you're doing your reflection of what has worked well, even before you actually look at the negative side of things, because you need a motivation, that internal motivation, say, despite how things have gone, I've actually been able to at least save 100,000 per month. And that is not that's something that you didn't do last year. So be proud of yourself. It could be land that you finished buying, or you finished the balance, or you started on a project this year. It's something that you need to be proud of. You know, sometimes when we feed ourselves with negative energy of things are not going on well, the economy is struggling, prices are increasing, we find ourselves that even the small wins that would have given us the fuel to actually push harder for new goals or for new achievements, we find ourselves draining. Now, in your what has your worked well, you can see that we have an aspect of life change. Now, as your life changes, means that it will have a big impact on your goals. Now, some of you are saying, I was not able to save as per what I had planned, but the reason why you may not have been able to save to that extent may be because of a life change that you have not yet realized, that this life change has affected of how I spend. And so I need to be able to readjust and see how can I be able to retune myself to be able to at least achieve my financial goals, or achieve my adjusted financial goals. And by the way, this is a good time also to, like we've seen, if your financial goals don't make meaning right now, it's good for you to sit down and refine them, make them workable for you, because you set up kind of financial goals that you thought you were going to achieve, but things have changed. So what exactly are you now going to fine tune to? Without aspect of saying, I'm giving up, I'm not going to do anything, things are hard. Having this kind of mindset that things are not good, you end up there without anything that you have either saved or invested to. And the notion is things have not been good. And you get to realize that as though things were not good, there are many people that have been able to make progress when it comes to their personal finances. So it's a very, very good. And of course, understanding that it's not just what has worked well, but also looking at what investments have you been able to make in the past month. I know that despite how circumstances have been, it's not just about our savings, but also what kind of investments have you been able to make? Apart from the investments that we are seeing on this page, because some of these are investments like construction projects, business projects, land, but what investments have also made in areas like unit trusts, maybe treasury bills, maybe shares, life insurance, good for those that were able to buy some shares with MTN. I saw messages of dividends coming through, people who have been able to sign up for different insurance policies and so on, and also those that have been able to save with different unit trusts. Now, as we've seen that as some people are struggling when it comes to the aspect of saving, other people have gone for different ways of how to make sure that they are more committed, a more disciplined way of approach to their saving. And one of the, as shared, one of the approaches is to sign up a standing order. Maybe this is going to your saving account, or this is going to your maybe a unit trust that you have signed up, maybe with Zeno or UAP or Jubilee, whatever you've chosen to do so, including your life insurances and so on. So very important for us, but also it's also very good for us to appreciate the dynamics that we are living in. I know for some people, as we speak of this, some of these things don't make sense to you because one, you either struggling in debt, you have taken loans and over loans. And why we have gotten into such circumstances because our income again continues to not to grow amidst our expenses growing every day. So you find that even before your salary comes to your account, you already have lined up debts to actually pay. So you could be stressed in such a circumstance. And don't think about yourself as somebody who is alone in this situation. Many people are going through this situation, especially during this time. You could have either lost jobs. Companies are now looking for ways of how to drop off costs. And one of the things that they are doing is they are laying off staff. The other could be you are sick yourself and medical bills have taken a good portion of your savings, or you have a sick person. You could be in business and business is low. And at the end of the day, your bills are also getting high, like everyone else, because of the escalating bills. So with that in mind, you need to now think of, despite whatever I'm going through, despite my wins, despite my lows, what exactly am I going to do? Now, also understanding that our future, we cannot tell of our future. The 6 months might have been a cruise for you. You have cruised well in the last 6 months, but then the next 6 months might be something that you didn't expect. You could lose a job in these next 6 months, by the way. You could enter into debt because things might get out of hand and you have no option. You could get sick, God forbid. Your business might be running right now, and it could have challenges in the next 6 months. So as we are also reflecting and we are planning for the next 6 months, we also should have this in mind that the future is uncertain. And that means that as we plan our goals, as we continue with our goals, we have to caution ourselves in terms of what can happen tomorrow. And this is also good for you who has not maybe done anything in the last 6 months, to say that despite of how things are actually running, despite of how prices are increasing and so on, I need to have this in mind that things can turn around and have no option but find ways of how to survive. And that means that these situations don't know about escalating prices. They don't know about the high cost of living. You have to make sure that you sell within. And that's why it's very important to start immediately at the start of at the start of this month to understand that I'm now having a refined journey when it comes to my personal finance goals, and knowing that despite how the economy is, I need to be able to achieve something for there. So I felt like I should share more of this, just to first open up your mind so that it can try to direct our discussion. Now, I've gotten some of the questions that Darius has asked me to basically share with you as I respond. I think we've seen that people have been able to help us when it comes to saving. Now, like I said, one of the reasons why some of us may not be able to save as how we plan or as how we wish is because we have left our saving discipline within our hands. You basically choose when to save and not to save. I'll tell you myself that from the time I learned that I can be able to save in a disciplined manner with a standing order, every time I set a financial goal regarding to saving, I'll immediately have sort of a standing order. For example, I save with my work circle. We have a circle at work. So I made sure that this is the amount of money that I want to save with such a circle. So this is deducted immediately, even before I receive my salary. The same thing with some of my other investments that I'm trying to also look into. Once my money hits my account, the goal is also to ensure that before I even do the spending, this money is getting off automatically of my account. At the end of the day, what I remain with, I can be able to survive within it because I have no option. But whenever you leave that gap for you to be able to choose whether to save or not save, you find yourself not being able to, of course, be disciplined, but as well as also understanding that we need to improve on how we earn. Not only just think about saving, but also finding ways of how to use the little we have as an investment to create new cash flows that can help us to be able to save more and be able to meet our goals. So one of the questions that I just want to comment in before I again allow you to come in and we have this reflection, I think was from Innocent, who says he had a goal of putting more effort into a side small consultancy firm alongside his daily office job, but he has failed because of time management. And again, I want to agree with Innocent because I know that most of us are doing jobs where we are taken up because of time. And one of the things that I would really share with Innocent that has worked for me is sometimes it's about prioritization. If you say that I have to do this, if you say I have to ensure that maybe the weekend is dedicated to growing my projects, then you work within that, but also understanding that you can find a support system that can be able to help you. These days, we also have, of course, the online space gives us an advantage that you can be able to consult with a client. You don't need to look to go to the customer's place. You don't need to say maybe set up an office where the customer will find you. You can be able to do most things online. So I want you to leverage on the online space. Very important, especially for you as a consultant, because as long as you're well acquainted with your knowledge, you know very well that you can be able to find support. You can be able to find your clients and serve them remotely, but as well as also create time. Despite your busy schedule, create time because this is your goal. This is an income that you're trying to create. So make sure that you create that time, just like the way you've said that you are going to create more time in the next 6 months. Try to do that. And if you can find support on such key areas, it's very important because many people are doing such things. So you too can be able to do it as well. And I think one of the things that also was asked here, maybe I need help with debt management. Again, I want to say that the reason why we are going to find ourselves going into debt and debt over time is the aspect of having a single source of income, because you have a single source of income that is not growing, but your bills are growing every day because we don't have control over our bills. The bills are growing every day. The rent that you used to pay of a given amount has now increased. The transport, the boda that you used to use, that you used to take you for 5K is now asking for 10K because things have changed. So I want to encourage you to live a frugal life. By frugality, I mean look into your expenses and look at things. We have two classes of expense. We have what we call needs and we have what we call wants. Look at things that you need that you cannot dwell with, and look at things that you really desire, but there you can really dwell with. And it's a time that you now start to avoid some of the things that you feel you just desire them, but you can dwell with them, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that as you're living the life, you also want to make sure that you're not, again, affecting your aspirations. Because if you want to live the life, if you want to eat to whatever places you want to go to, you want to buy whatever you want to buy, even things that you don't need, you find yourself in circumstances where you're just living for today and not planning for tomorrow. So that is very, very important. So I just want to open the session, and again, I will be coming in to answer some of the questions that I've not yet tapped into, just to help us reflect a little more. So before I get off, I want to ask a question. Based on your circumstances, based on how things are running right now, how are you managing, especially in the increasing prices? What are some of the strategies that you're using right now to be able to continue with achieving your goals? And maybe this we would love to see how each one of us is actually working within this current situation to be able to attain our goals. And what do you think somebody can do different in the next 6 months? So I'd like to open the session, and I've seen some comments coming through. I think Julius made a comment here. And we also have Migisha, who says that managing finances is the decision one has to make despite what other people think. Some decisions are very tough, like having to sell off a car and put kids in boarding school. You hustle for life for like a year or two as one gets back on their feet. Even if salary is to increase, it may not commensurate this inflation. I think I would agree with her. And that's where the frugality comes in, where you say that since fuel has increased, I can no longer afford the car, I can actually board the taxi and get to work until when things get back into the picture. When I know that I now have an income that can cater for my fuel and I can be able to survive. So thank you so much, Dimigisha, for sharing. So you can be able to unmute and be able to share. We are trying to reflect, especially in the aspect of how we can survive in this changing financial situation, especially with the increasing cost of living. So if in case you want something to share, you can put up your hand, or you can be able to share in the chat box, and then we can be able to hear from you. And also, in case you have a question, you can also be able to drop the question, and you can be able to reflect on it as well. Anyone would like to, you can unmute, okay? Please unmute. Julius, the cleaner, you can unmute and speak.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Julius.
Thank you very much. My name is Julius, the cleaner. So far, I set goals, and mine was about cash flow. But there is something I realized as the economy keeps on changing day and night. There is only one thing that can help us improve or control our finances. One, and I think it is the main one, is having more than one source of income. There are certain things that we look at, and they look cheap. they look cheap or they look out of low, but at the end of the day, they bring in income. Once they bring in income every day, you realize that it helps you to accumulate, to control your finances. I'll give you an example. I had a sister of mine. I promised to give her a business. They have a fridge home. So I was like, she wanted to start ice cream, selling these ice creams. These ice creams of Veras for chukumi chukumi. And I realized that that can help us at least to bring in 5,000 a day. And guess what? That ice cream, if we put in 5,000, we get a profit of 5,000 after selling, and she can sell ice cream for 10,000 in a day. So you realize that there are some people whose salary is 10,000, or it is 450 if you calculate it on a monthly basis. But if you give someone an extra effort to do work, and you get that extra 5,000 on a daily basis, you realize that you can control your finances. That 5,000 might look small, but it can help you to either to pay electricity bills, either to pay water bills and something. So if you have, let me say, if you have ice cream, you have paper bags, if you have those small incomes, but which are done by someone else, they can help you to improve on your finances, and you live. You don't live the burden of maybe either the debt where you would have gone for a debt. You realize that you have 5,000 or 3,000 from here, 30,000 from here. At the end of the day, if you have 5 sources of income, even if they are bringing in 5,000 a day, realize that you have 25 a day, which if compiled and managed well, you realize that it's really big sum of money. That's what I had to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julius. And I believe that Julius is not any different from many people that have a similar perspective. I'll tell you that myself, part of the things that I'm also doing, and part of how I manage, especially the escalating prices, is because being able to create different income streams, where I know that this year I'm not just looking at my salary, I'm not just looking at already my existing sources of income, but every day I'm thinking of how can I use the little money that I have to create more income. And I would want to tell you that on everyday basis, you see some money coming through, and however little it could actually be, you find yourself that money can actually buy, let's say, consumables at home. It can be able to help take care of your fuel. It can be able to take care of, let's say, of your medical bills when you need to be. And you find yourself in circumstances where you don't have to borrow every time you have a financial challenge, because you have an option B. So very good to share that. Someone who is using Techno Common 18i says, I agree with you. Beside my salary and other things that I do, I sell pancakes, and this has helped me a lot to save. Very brilliant to know about that. And Olga also said, cutting off unnecessary. I think just like we said, and again, Binksy's vlog also shares the same, saying, try to remanage your expenses. I think most of us are struggling when it comes to our personal finance because we have failed to sit down, look deep into our expenses, see the things that are taking our money, and see how we can be able to avoid certain things that we feel we don't need. We just spend on them because we have to spend on them, either to impress others, either because we want to look better, yet we're actually not there. So if we look into such aspects and know that we are making sure that whatever we are spending on our money should actually be spent on. And we are also looking for, I like the approach of one person here who shared that they buy things in bulk. I think if there's anything that has also helped my personal financial journey is buying things in bulk, because when you buy things in bulk, you actually buy at wholesale. You basically get a discount And that discount, that saving that you're creating in that line helps you. For example, a bag of rice, let's say of 25 kgs, somebody might get it, let's say maybe at 80,000. That is a sack. But if somebody was actually buying this this kilo of rice every day, and maybe they're buying 25 kilos, they will end up paying less 100,000 in total. And this is just on a low end. And this is just an example. So you find that there's many things that you can save on, but because you want to buy one item by one item, you find yourself in circumstances where you're not saving anything. So I like the fact that we are also thinking about expenses, how we can manage them, remove the unnecessary, but also find ways of how to cut them. But as well as also think about how to increase our income to help us. So Julius, the clean again comes back to say, that you realize so many people have fridges at home, but underutilize them. Blenders and other things that can bring them money. You have a made at home fridge, which is already there, and that can already give you a business of juice and so on. So that is, I think, very good to hear from you. Dimigish also says, depending on where you live, you can rear chicken in the backyard. If you have some running around, you can make sales every weekend when neighbors get to know. I think this is very good and good to hear. I think I'll be again calling in my colleague Darius to come and help us to understand how we can be able to pick up with these ideas that we are seeing that are really flowing in. And I believe that whoever is listening in is trying to get an understanding that it's not just my house that is facing the increasing cost of living, but many people are facing the same, but are finding innovative ways of how to sail through at the end of the day. So I want to say that despite of how the situation is going, and I want to tell you that this situation is not changing anytime. Somebody who has seen how we have moved, especially in this country, you agree with me that the fuel we are taking right now will not go back to the 4,000 that we used to buy it. It will actually remain up there. So what happens with our earnings and so on? I know that most of us, like I said, depend on salary. And many companies, I think some companies that are a bit dedicated to especially aspects of staff welfare will be increasing salaries maybe in the next month. And to some people, when the salary increment comes in, the first thing you think about is increasing your expenditure, not think about where you can actually invest your money. And I like the fact that people are bringing ideas that don't take a lot of money, because mostly we could be hearing, I don't have enough money to start a business. But we can see that the ideas people are bringing are ideas that don't take much. Even if it's rearing chicken, you starting with, let's say, 2 of them or 3 of them, know that once maybe one lays eggs and able to hatch, you're able to get more, and every time your salary comes in, you increase, you build on it. So it's not just about starting from up there, but knowing that you can actually start small with what you have. And one of the things that I am encouraged is that most of us are professionals. So we have a certain skill that we have gained from our workplaces that we can actually be able to use to generate more income. Just as you're a marketing person of an entity, you can be able to market other products that are outside your company's portfolio. Just like you're a teacher at a school, you can be able to look for opportunities of coaching other kids of parents. So we have a lot that is within our hands that can be able to help us refine and become much better. But as well as at the end of the day, also understanding that the expenses that we are incurring today, we have many expenses that we can actually dwell with and still survive. So these things, it's very important to be able to bring all that into perspective. So I want to welcome my colleague, Darius. I don't know if do we have any other hand? I think, Julius, that was your hand earlier on. Anyone would want to unmute and be able to share this as Darius comes in?
Thank you, Samuel. I'd seen a hand from Jamila.
Okay, I think Jamila, you could come through and share. It would be good to get your perspective on this. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much. What I wanted to share was, as much as we are looking at other things that we are spending on, like maybe the fuel, the food, there are utilities that we have not really focused on. For example, managing the water usage at home. I think we need to learn to pay attention. How is the water bill running? When they bring the bill, how does it look like? Is it fluctuating and why? Then the electricity, how much are we using in a month and why? So that you try to regulate that. So you'll find that when we don't look at these things, we might cut costs on the other end, but then these ones, which are variable, really are affecting us so much because they keep appearing, but then they are also fluctuating. Then when you look at the TV subscription, you find that someone is paying for DSTV and you actually don't need it. You're never home. The kids are probably full time at school, but you have DSTV and maybe you're paying like 100,000 a month, and yet you can actually opt for free to air, where you're not paying anything, and you can still get all the local channels. So I think some of those things where we are finding that there is a loophole, it is something that you have to look into and try to tighten. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And before the rest comes, I just want to maybe comment on that, sometimes we are looking for substantial changes in our financial life. We're looking for ways of how to save 500,000. You're looking for ways of how to, let's say, increase your income by 1 million. And we forget about the small steps that we can actually do and would give us a big advantage. Sometimes even saving 1,000 shilling on an item cumulatively could create a big impact on your financials. So when somebody shares about aspects of our utilities, I think it's very, very clear that cumulatively, when you're living that frugal life, you find yourself saving a lot because you're not just saving on TV, but your mind is now focused on looking at the loopholes, on the leakages that are taking your money. And at the end of the day, I want to believe that you'll be somewhere on your journey. Darius, I would love to welcome you back to the session so that we can be able to see how can we pick it up from here, because I know we've had this conversation over and over time. Even at the start of there, we had a conversation, and many of us usually have this in the mind of, I'm now going to take charge of my financial future. I'm now going to do ABCD. And we also understand that many people have aspirations to do certain things, especially how to create an alternative source of income, but they don't know where to start from. So I want you to come back to be able to tell us what could be our way forward in terms of how we are going to move in terms of our next 6 months, and what exactly can we do, what kind of support can we find, and how can we find more accountability for each other. Welcome, Darius.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach Samuel, and all the people that have shared with us. Yeah, as we can see, the last 6 months have given us an opportunity to be able to do some things that we intended to do for this year. But like most people have shared, sometimes the road is not as straight as you would have wanted it to be. Sometimes you want to thrive and move a little bit faster, but maybe it is not the way. And maybe sometimes what hinders us is because we want to make those big steps, yet we don't know that sometimes it's about starting with those small steps, and then you'll be able to make it and be able to make the kind of changes that you would wish to make, and how that can help you to make steps towards achieving your financial goals. So in the next 6 months, what are some of those things that you are going to be doing? What are some of those things that you're going to change from what you've done in the last 6 months, so that you can be able to move towards realizing your goals? So Coach Samuel, Ivanda, and I could also come in and support you. Maybe what you need more of is someone to hold you more accountable. So we would be willing to come in and support you should you need someone to hold you accountable. So that's why we are putting together a coaching program that if you would like to, someone to hold you accountable, help you on a deeper basis, have a reflection on your personal finances, would be willing and ready to support you on this coaching program. So the coaching program really would be a five-week program that will then take you step by step at a personal basis, have it individualized, and ask yourself, me as Darius, me as Jackson, me as Daniel, what were some of my goals, and what can I do better to be able to achieve my personal finances at the end of the year. So if you think you would need some kind of support, or you would need someone to hold you accountable in form of a coach, and also interact with like-minded people to support you towards achieving your goals, I have I've put a link in the chat room. If you can click on the link so that you can be part of our coaching program, and then we'll support you towards making a deeper review and reflection on your personal finances so that we can support you. So so how is the program going to be structured like? It's going to be a 5-week program where we shall start by doing a personal analysis and reflection on what kind of goals you've had over the last years, and then step by step ask ourselves, what can we do about it, and what can we do better? So we look at things on how can you increase your savings, how can you develop more discipline in regards to saving, and how can you create more streams of income if that's the kind of goal that you had. How can you streamline your investments more so that you can move towards achieving your goals a little bit better? And if you've been looking at setting up an emergency fund, that is also the other thing that we could help you. So whatever kind of goal that you have, you're going to join a community of people that are very passionate about not just setting goals, but ensuring that these goals are achieved. So if you'd like to be part of this accountability program, follow the link that is in the chat room, and then we'll be able to support you. You will make a small investment of only 75,000. And so once you've made this payment, we'll add you to a separate WhatsApp group. And then it's from this WhatsApp group that we will then be able to support you and guide you on the next steps. So if anyone has questions, we would kindly like to welcome them before we close today's session.
Julius put up his hand as I think you were starting the session. I don't know if he was commenting on this, so he has a question. Julius, is your hand still valid? I think also Amos's hand is up. Julius, you could come through, and then Amos could join later on. Maybe also just to add that in case you're having challenges with accessing the form, you can actually send Darius a WhatsApp directly. Maybe Darius, you could also just drop your WhatsApp number in the chat box, or somebody could even call you just to find out more about this program. I think Julius, you can come through. If Julius is not yet there, we can have Amos come through. Okay, Amos, you can unmute and ask. Amos, your hand is up. You can unmute. We can't hear you. Okay, as Amos comes through, I would want just to maybe add on what Darius has shared.
Hello?
For the yes, Amos, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Amos Tumesje. Thank you for the program. I once in a while come in to listening. mine is the comment that in the current global economic situation, automatically what needs to be done is jig around and see how you can increase income. And increased income is, of course, not dependent only on your salary, but also to try to do some diversification into other income generating projects. You can do the trading. The challenge with the trading is the management. If you can know how to do the management, that would be a plus. Another one would be production. Production means look at, say, your home. What do you spend on? Supermarket, or talk about what you pick from the other markets for food. Can you maybe do home gardening so that you don't have to go and buy greens from the supermarket, or katunkuma, for example, for those ones that love it, and avocados. I grow matoke around my compound, and you know, I don't have a big compound. I live on maybe a 20 or 25 decimal place, but you find I have about maybe 20 or so banana plantations, and sometimes when they are it's a season, I really don't need to go to the market. Those who can afford to maybe buy some little bit piece of land around those who live in Kampala or Jinja or whatever, close to where you can monitor, where you can jump in the evening and go and see what's happening. I encourage people to grow crops, in these certain kind of circumstances. If you have your own food, then you can now try to see how to ration on the supermarket stuff that is unavoidable, especially when you have children. Which children sometimes they don't want to know, or they don't want to hear, or they don't want to understand that there's no bread, or they don't want to hear that the president says that you should substitute cassava with bread. So in such circumstances, then if you have food, then you can see how to leverage on what you've been buying from the supermarket. That is the contribution I wanted to make, and I thank everybody and encourage you to keep on these topics, especially in these very, very uncertain circumstances. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Amos, and thank you so much to everyone who's been part of this session. I believe we've been able to pick something, one or two. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you listen, what you try to aspire to. As what matters most is the aspect of starting. So as we have heard, as we have gotten ideas, let's go out there and make sure that we are implementing this and be able to fine tune and change our trajectory when it comes to our personal finances. To those that are joining in for the coaching program, I believe that this is more value to you as well. Just like a sports, an athlete or a footballer has a coach, you too can be able to derive a lot of value when it comes to the aspect of having somebody to guide you. Some of you are running businesses that are not going on well, and you may need somebody to just sit down with you and try to strategize with you, tell you what you're not seeing, and help you get again on the journey, but as well as also somebody to hold you accountable. Sometimes we want to move in a given direction, but we don't have anyone to tell us either we are moving in the right direction or we are moving in the wrong direction, and somebody that we can be able to fall back to ask them, how can we be able to maneuver in different circumstances? So that is something that myself and Darius want to basically do. We want to make sure that we are doing more of support. We're doing a mentorship and coaching to help you change your journey when it comes to your personal finances. So I believe the investment is worth it. So yeah, I think Darius has been able to answer that in the chat box. So the program is starting on 16th. which is very good, not far from now. So create an investment into that. In case you have a challenge in regards to joining, reach out to Darius, and we see. Somebody says, I'm interested, but my business days are over the weekend. How will I cope up with the coaching program? Darius will be able to clarify on times of the times we shall be able to handle this. I believe that evenings during the week will be one of the things that we shall be able to utilize, especially that you're working staff. Darius, over to you to just make a few clarifications and be able to wind this up.
All right, thank you, Samuel, and thank you, Timothy, for asking. So once you've made the payment to enter into the coaching program, you're going to you're going to join a special WhatsApp group, and in this WhatsApp group, you'll be able to interact with us a little bit more. We'll be meeting once every week, and we'll be altering some of these days, but mainly looking at Wednesdays and Saturdays, and looking at evenings when people have some time off their busy schedules, so that they can have enough time to reflect and answer to some pertinent questions that would be very useful to ensuring that they remain on track towards achieving their financial goals. So thank you, Timothy. Maybe we can always also engage if you have any other questions, and then we'll be able to respond to them. Otherwise, members, I would like to thank you all. Thank you for having taken part in today's program and today's session. Thank you for the opportunity to share your experiences, some of the things that you've learned over time, some of the things that you continue to learn, and some of the experiences that have helped you to get a little bit better. We'll be in touch, especially those that are part of our WhatsApp group, the Personal Finance Mastery Community, so that we can always share more and we can be able to learn and get along together. I thank you and have a nice week ahead.
Thank you, Darius, and thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.